Hi, it's Warren Huart here. Hope you're doing marvellously well. As ever, please subscribe below or go to producelikeapro.com and sign up for the email list, and you'll get loads of free stuff and behind-the-scenes stuff. Exciting things. Anyway, today I want to talk to my good friend Matt Emonson, who works under the name Matt Matix.
Yes.
And he actually has done a lot of amazing sounding tracks that we will be unleashing on the world very shortly.
Yes.
And he does what would you describe? EDM, dance music, bit of everything?
It's a little bit of everything, like dance music. I try to stay away from like the EDM.
I know, it's a very an adult way of saying, oh yes, it's EDM.
Yeah. But I mean, just like dance music, hip hop, it takes many shapes and forms.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was funny coming from England in the late 80s where dance music was big. I mean, it had loads of sub-genres, but it wasn't until sort of like about 5 years ago in America, like EDM.
Yeah.
I think it's just a way for our parents or our parents' parents to sort of lump all of the genre in together. Let's just call it EDM.
Yeah, but it's also like kind of taken a shape and form in kind of like festival party music as well. So it has in its own sense become its own
entity,
kind of sound and entity with like really hard driving synth stuff.
Right. Marvelous. Well, look, let's talk about your setup.
Mm-hmm.
Matt has another setup altogether. He doesn't use Pro Tools. Well, he does use Pro Tools because we work on Pro Tools together, but he uses other DAWs. So let's have a talk about what do you have here?
Here I use Ableton Live. This is, I believe it's version 8.
Is it the latest one, version 8?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
I've been using Ableton for a while now, since I was 16.
Fantastic.
I feel like lately it's really kind of amped up in its capabilities. This version has things like audio to MIDI conversion,
fantastic,
stuff like that. It's really cool.
I remember Ableton. I remember when it first came out. I used to use it in Pro Tools. I would use it as a standalone software. Mm-hmm. What I loved about it is you could take loops before Elastic Audio, years before Elastic Audio in Pro Tools. It could take loops and time stretch them without altering the pitch.
Yes.
And that was like 90, like 98, 99.
Yeah.
So it was well ahead of the curve.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, if you look here, you can basically just grab audio in its file and move the pieces around, and it's like it has
fantastic.
It has like an auto warp function for kind of how I use it sometimes for hip hop and sampling other types of music. You can bring the file in and move move the 1 and the 3 in the right place, so you have like the kick and the snare in the right place, and yeah, you can just stretch everything to work together. I think that's probably one of the best functions of Ableton.
It's great.
And it's fairly intuitive.
Can I hear the track?
Yes.
Great. It's like 70s, what do you want to call that? 70s meets 2015.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of got a little Herbie Hancocky, Chick Corea groove.
Yeah, I've been listening a lot to like Herbie Hancock.
Oh yeah.
Jazz, lots of jazz funk.
That's great. Can you and the Crusaders as well? Can you give me kind of a synopsis of all the different things you got going on here?
Yeah, it's a mixture of both audio and MIDI stuff.
Right.
Of all shapes and sizes. I have like some samples going.
Right.
I have. Let me just show a couple.
Great, please.
A couple things to you. Here, like in my drum my drum kit.
Yeah.
I like to utilize this part of Ableton called the sampler.
Yeah.
Here it is right here.
Great.
And it's basically you can drops audio files into the sampler.
Yep.
And warp them in different ways. You can reverse them. You can map them out. So like, you know, if you have like a middle C, then the next C up, and the next C up, you can map them out, and then map them to a whole MIDI keyboard if you want to.
Oh, really? That's fantastic.
For this,
so you can trigger your whole drum kit and decide where you want to put it all.
Yeah, for this, in this song in particular, I'm using it just to create a reverse ride into an actual ride for like a kind of build up on the one. Like that. It's actually a little rough, actually, when you listen to it there. But
it's kind of cool, though.
But it's kind of like
we always talk about how rough and wrong actually sounds better.
Yeah.
Everything's so perfect.
But yeah, it just I like to use that as an effect going into the one. Brings in a new phase, like the next part.
That's cool. What I like, there's a big, we were talking about this a while ago, there's a big resurgence in people loving Jay Dilla now.
Yeah.
It's becoming hip again.
Oh, yeah, totally.
You know, and all of that is like so put together, and that's what makes it so cool.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's like if you listen to like an album like It Takes a Nation of Millions or whatever, it was like that was all played.
Yeah.
On an MPC. You know, they didn't have a way, because it was all going to tape, they didn't have a way to then grid it afterwards.
Just grid up the songs.
So even though it's being triggered from a unit, it still has the feel of a human being doing it.
Yeah.
So that kind of roughly placed, I think, you know, that's as close as we're going to get in the real world.
Yeah, totally. I think you know, people who approach samples in that kind of way, like I feel like that's justified if you can really like play it out in a new interesting way. That's like still like very, I don't know, just still instrumental. Like it sounds like you're playing keys or a guitar or something like that.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
has feel and groove.
And you do play keys, and you play keys great. So you come from that background of being a really good musician.
Yes.
So what? So just sort of take us through some of these tracks.
Let's see. So I just have a kind of a bus of tons of different percussion, and
this is a MIDI track up here, is it?
This is
the grey one up the top.
No, this is just a group.
Oh, it's a grouping. I see. A2A percussion. I'm not an Ableton guy.
Yeah.
The old software was not like this at all.
Yeah, in this version of Ableton, you can group tracks together.
Perfect.
Which is obviously very helpful, and I can create, you know, kind of a one big.
And these plugins come with the software.
Yeah, all these plugins come with the software. Like,
have you had to buy any plugins, or is it just literally as it comes?
It's literally as it comes.
Oh, that's fantastic.
There's for some of the software instruments, you have to buy the highest level of Ableton, but
I see. And how much is Ableton, the highest level?
I think it's $600 or $700.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, it's
$700 and everything,
and you get everything. You get good sounding compressors and EQs and whatnot. Although now I've kind of used them too much, so I got to venture into.
You got to find other stuff.
Yeah,
and you add on plugins and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, I see.
Through the Apollo, I use some of the UA plugins. I don't think I have any on this track in particular.
And how do you bring the UA into this?
Right in here.
Oh, okay. So you can just import them into it.
Yeah, you can just you just import it into it, and they're just all available to you. I have all the waves here as well.
Oh wow, that's fantastic.
And then actually, I do also like to use the console version of the Apollo as well, to get just you can use a like.
I see.
1176 insert going in before even mixing it in
in
great. Ableton at all. I have it going through the 1176 on this kind of fake console guy.
That's great.
Yeah, so it has tons of its own plugins. Is this all
still percussion down here?
Yeah, this is. Let's see what we have here. This is also another sampler.
Right. You're triggering that from an M-Audio trigger finger?
From a trigger finger, yeah.
Nice.
I've actually had this for a long time, and I can really just take this computer and this with me and
make
music just for that. Obviously I play keys and I like to have that.
Right.
Have that with me, and actually sometimes I even play keys on the keyboard. Here,
oh, you do?
It has the
keyboard.
It has the keyboard function.
That's crazy.
And like it's C, D, E, F, G, and the
That's
black
crazy.
keys up here. And I've just over the years traveling around.
I think I've said this on every interview. Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes, exactly.
You're sitting there. You've only got your laptop. You're like, well, I suppose I've got to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. And and sometimes limitations create so much creativity.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just another use of the sampler on here.
And those are all audio tracks down below.
And these are all audio tracks. I'll just play the drums in particular right now. Lately, I've just been putting everything through one group.
Right.
Sometimes I'll put like a compressor on top of all of the drums to kind of like bring them together.
Sure.
I use kind of a combination of lots of different old drum machine sounds.
Right.
I have a whole library of like RX5, RX7, 808, 707,
RX5 and RX7. I had those when they were new.
And yeah, now for me it's just
16-bit sample drums. Wow.
Yeah.
We thought they were genius.
And I also what I don't have with me, I have a MPC 2000
Oh, you do?
Sample station, which I usually just put all my drums to that.
Right.
And actually has a certain sound that's really amazing. It's 16-bit. I think it has like some built-in compressor in it that just really slams hard. So a lot of the times I'll just take those.
So you're just printing that through the Apollo?
Yeah, just printing it through the Apollo.
Oh, that's great. And
sounds really great.
And this editing is editing audio in Ableton easy to do?
It's easy to do. One thing that is annoying about Ableton is it doesn't have like a playlist function.
Oh, it doesn't.
So if you're trying to layer, recording vocals is pretty hard to do.
Oh, it is.
In it.
You just have to keep creating new tracks.
Yeah, it just takes a little longer.
Right.
It's not the end of the world. But
we didn't used to have playlists in Pro Tools for years.
Yeah.
I remember growing up on that and just
track.
Well, no. What I would do is you would record a track from zero, and then the next one you'd start, and a nanosecond after you start, you'd hit record, and then you'd hit record again, and you'd have all these layers like this, and you'd stretch each track back and look at it. It took hours to comp.
Fun times.
So what I would do is I would then create like 10 tracks underneath and then drag every single piece down and stretch it out. And that was how.
Indeed.
Yeah. And then there was no way to kind of like, where now you highlight it and hit a button and it flips up to a comp track.
Yeah.
You had to sit there and drag it all up. And people would drag it up and they wouldn't hold down control, so it would move slightly and be out of time. And, it was...
Good Lord.
But that's how, but compared with working on tape, went straight from tape and having three tracks of vocals to bounce to one. Mm-hmm. Suddenly be able to have 10 or 12 vocal takes was like, whoa!
Yeah.
It was like heavens opened up for that. So give us a little bit of a tour here. So you've got a Korg here that looks fantastic. microKORG. That's cool. I mean, I've never seen one in black and red like this.
Yeah, it's like a weird little limited edition one that came out a few years ago. I love the microKORG. I use it on everything, more or less.
It looks amazing. How much are these?
They're like about $400.
That's great.
Just like I think it has 4 voices. I tend to use it a lot for bass kind of stuff, leads. But yeah, even this organ sounds pretty legit. It's very easy to edit stuff, like edit sounds on as well.
It is.
So the thing that's really like kind of cool and straightforward about it is you can with these knobs here change your editing parameters. So like for instance here, I can move it to filter for this organ, and then you just go kind of across here, and it'll show you what each of these 5 knobs can do. So for instance here, filter, you can change with this knob like the kind of filter, high pass filter, low pass, 24 low, etc., etc. With this one you can change the cutoff, or here the cutoff. This one you can change the resonance as well. It has a pretty great sounding filter for
that's awesome.
$400. I can't really complain about that.
It's got so many great sounds in it.
And it has a bunch of presets that are like that are all like kind of throwback presets. Like,
can you show me some of the sounds?
My personal favorite is this like kind of like, it's like under techno and house, but it's just this kind of low bumpy bass.
Nice.
That's kind of like a filtered saw.
Great.
That I use on a ton of tracks. It's kind of like a 90s like bumpy bass, good for like hip hop and
then what about some of the other stuff that's in here? There are the things that...
Let's see, this lead, this sine wave lead on the hip hop vintage kit is always really fun to like play with, and
it's built in with a delay as well, which is cool.
Yeah, it has a built-in delay and like a little legato.
Oh, and it's monophonic.
Yeah, it's monophonic.
Ah, right. Yeah, so you can do that.
Yeah, you can shred on it.
That's a good little $400. And of course, the Apollo Twin. Bada boom.
Bada boom.
The
bada
third
bang.
guy in a row. This is not planned. I really do have to buy an Apollo Twin. The third guy in a row. This is crazy.
It's for what I need to do, it's perfect. I mean,
well, apparently it seems to be for what all the guys we're talking to need to do. It's perfect. It's crazy. I mean, how much did you pay for it? Like $600 or $700, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was $800 to get
$800
to get the Apollo Twin Duo, which is
it's the Duo.
I think has more
inputs or something.
No, it's just more processing.
Oh,
power,
it does.
For the plugins, and it came with a couple more UAD plugins as well, which all sound really great.
Everybody seems to love the UAD plugins, and I am not sponsored by them. I'm not. It's crazy. Everybody seems to love them. I don't have them yet, so you guys are all ahead of me on that one.
You don't even have like a card or anything.
No, we don't have the card system or anything. No, but it seems like we should.
I mean, you work with, what you like. And
well, I also have a lot of the real gear that they're emulating.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, for mixing, it seems to be make perfect sense.
Yeah, and the conversion, it's really amazing. It just sounds.
Obviously, Oh Hush's stuff is fantastic. Joel's stuff is amazing. Your stuff is amazing. My friend Dave McCracken, who's a big producer in England, just turns up with a laptop and this, and a mini keyboard and makes albums.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is kind of the new world.
Yeah, a ton of guys in Harmony came through with the Apollo as well, and I just patch them in.
UAD are cleaning up.
Yeah, they are.
They're great. It's crazy.
But in a couple of years, we'll be the next
Right.
The next thing.
Well, it was the Apogee Duet for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Everybody had that.
Everyone had that for a while. I didn't have it.
No, nor have I. But I have some Apogee stuff as well as Avid stuff. And then, of course, we've already seen the trigger finger here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really, I wouldn't say it's basic. It's actually, you know, it's kind of a really great system. You've got real synth, so you can play. You can play real stuff here. You can trigger your drum sounds, and presumably whatever else you want to put on your pads there. Yeah, I mean, this is basically your studio setup. What mic do you use?
I just have I have a 58. I don't.
That's great.
I don't have anything nice, but like it gets the job done.
That's great. And then you're going through the Apollo and using the 1176 plugin when you're recording.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I mean, nothing like professional sounding,
right?
But you can get close at least.
You know, define professional recording. I mean, that's, you know, there's been so many records made with, you know, expensive gear and so many records made with inexpensive gear. The only thing that matters is the creativity.
Yeah, totally.
And especially if you're using sounds primarily in the box or from sources like this, I mean, you're not going to hear any difference in quality.
No.
And then if you're doing a vocal on a 58, I mean, if it's EQ'd and compressed nicely, nobody's going to care.
Yeah, totally.
And the people that will care are not the people that are going to be buying records.
No.
You know,
the
gear guys that are going to tell you you're doing it wrong, you know, most of them aren't usually making money at music.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I always, if you ever seen the Beatles book, the Recording the Beatles, it's that big thick book. They used an AKG, I think it was a D90, which is like the AKG's version of an SM57, and that was the overhead on the drums.
The overhead on the drums.
Yeah, and it was pretty much their everything dynamic mic. They just record things through it, and so it was like a equivalent of $100 microphone being used to record, you know, things that now we put $10,000 mics on.
Yeah.
So, you know, and you could argue with anybody that Revolver is one of the best recorded albums of all time. Mm-hmm. You know, and that was being done with a lot of dynamic microphones. So it's not always about spending a lot of money. It's definitely more about the creativity.
No.
Play a little bit later on in the track where it's a bit more involved. We only really kind of got the beginning of it.
I like when it comes up to that guitar melody.
It's awesome.
Since I can't sing for shit, I tend to just pack like melodies of guitar,
right?
And sometimes it can come across as like a little corny, but I kind of like to kind of accept that, and I'm cool with it.
Oh, I love it. I grew up listening to this kind of music. I was saying it's like Herbie Hancock, the Crusaders, Chick Corea, Return to Forever. All right, thanks, Matt. I really appreciate it.
No
Great
problem.
job.
It's a pleasure.
So look, you got a glimpse into Matt's setup here. And, I mean, this basically is his setup. And he's making music every day. He's making great music. And, again, the Apollo comes up. UAD, give us a free one. No. No, it seems to be, like I say, it seems to have taken over from the Duet. Wasn't the Duet the Apogee Duet?
Yeah.
That's the one. I used to see that one all the time. Now I'm seeing this one, obviously. We're all seeing this one. But, you know, here's Ableton and great inbuilt sounds, a relatively inexpensive DAW. I mean, you say the full version is what? $700-800 or so?
$700-800 or so.
And that's a pretty reasonable price to have the full version with all the sounds. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he's creating great music with just that setup. So, anyway, thanks very much for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
As ever, please subscribe. Go to producelikeapro.com and sign up for the email list, and you'll get a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff. You're recording drums and pianos and files to download, and, of course, we'll email you with new competitions that we're going to be having, and thanks for watching.